It's not quite game day live. It's better. It is the rundown. It is week 1 of the rundown, but week 6 of Uniball. But we have been paying attention. Obviously, big games this week, big games last week, big games all week. It's Uniball. But we are live to discuss what has happened. Week 6, we don't have to wait for people to not send their scores in. Glasgow. We have got all the scores in, and it is, it's another great week for Britball. Now, I am Chris Tebbett. Over from me is my co-host, not my host, Dom Sims.
I'm your host, mate. I don't even talk about.
I am host. Your hair. I just can't.
I mean, just look after you. What do you mean? It's lovely.
Every week, your hair.
Luscious locks. So I don't even talk about.
So, we're going to start off with what only seems right by breaking down the scores from week 6, starting with the Prem South. The UE Bullets do it again, embarrass the Birmingham Lions, putting themselves, as far as I'm concerned, at the top. I remember I was asked a few weeks ago who would win, SGS Pride or the Bullets. Now, one thing you've got to consider, SGS Pride have conceded points. UE Bullets have conceded no points this season. They are undefeated, 4-0. 42 UE Bullets, Birmingham 0. Then it's the UEA Pirates versus the Swansea Titans in the battle for last place. Who is getting relegated? Now, the problem here is the Swansea Titans beat the Pirates in week 1. But this time, the Pirates beat the Swansea Titans 10-0. They are locked at the bottom. Who is going to be relegated? It's going to be interesting to see. Dom, who do you think is going to be relegated? I know who I want to be relegated, but
go on, tell me who you want to be relegated.
I think Swansea Titans have got a bad attitude, so I'm
just going to go just against you, mate. I'll go the Pirates.
Okay, I think the Pirates might be facing it, but
it will come down to points, really, won't it?
It will come down to points or a coin flip. Baffer,
just a coin flip. Flip a coin,
Bucks.
Mate, yeah.
I'm looking at you, Bucks, ruining everything. Now we go up. Prem North. Notts Gold, once again proving they are the top of the division, beating Leeds Beckett Carnegie 51-23. Now that I think is a great matchup. Leeds Beckett were firmly in second place. They had momentum on their side, but they could not get it done against Nottingham Gold. Nottingham Gold are now 4-0. Leeds Beckett get their first loss of the season, putting them at 4-1. Now, we have the battle, not quite the battle of the bottom because the Leeds Griffins do exist, but Durham Saints proving that they are, in fact, middle of the table in Prem North, beating the Stirling Klansmen 45-19. It does not look like the Stirling Klansmen are going to repeat their performance from the season previous by winning 5 straight and winning the division. They're not going to do that. Durham Saints are now 1-2, and the Stirling Klansmen now 1-4.
I'm actually devastated on the Stirling fans on losing that. They're my underdogs. They're my underdog pick.
Well, they're getting more.
Well, they just got battered.
much like how the Coventry Jets should send a gift basket to the Leicester Longhorns when this season is done, the Stirling Klansmen should send a gift basket to the Leeds Griffins because they are the only reason why they are still in the Prem. Looking at Borders 1. One game was called off. But this game happened. The Northumbria Mustangs improved to 2-2 in a 10-9 victory over the Edinburgh Predators. And now in the Northern 1, the LJMU Fury. They looked like they were heating up, but it's not to be. Sheffield Sabres smashed them at 47-8. Now, the thing you've got to consider is the LJMU Fury beat Sheffield 18-13 week 1. So there's definitely been some improvement from the Sabres. Now, the Sheffield Hallam Warriors, who have been very, very good, they are 3-1, and they have improved that. They beat the Derby Braves 20-14. Derby now fall to 0-2. In the Midlands 1, the Nottingham Trent Renegades barely squeeze out the Warwick Wolves 7-3. The Nottingham Trent Renegades improved to 4-1. Warwick Wolves are now even at 2-2. Now, this is what I was talking about. I do love you, Leicester. You are a good team, but you are not Div 1 material. And I think you know that because they are 0-5 with a 33-14 loss over the struggling Coventry Jets. Now, I think, Coventry Jets, you need to give everyone at Leicester a big, long hug because they have saved your bacon. You're going to stay in Div 1. You've got a chance to rebuild and go back up to the Prem, but the Leicester Longhorns, I think they're 0-5 before the Christmas break. I think it's pretty easy to say, Leicester, we're going to welcome you back with open arms to Midlands Div 2.
It's going to be a long off season for them. They've not got much time left. It's going to be a very long off season for them.
Honestly, you might as well. Honestly, coaches don't tell your players to, watch what you're eating over Christmas. No, enjoy yourself.
Enjoy yourself boys. The season's over.
You've Houston Texans yourself. You're already eliminated. Probably, definitely. One loss, they definitely are. Then the Southern 1, Bath, who are 1-3, lose by 8 points to Bristol, who are now 2-2. Might be something with that game. Let's check the old Bradford newsflash, and it is. The game was abandoned at 9 minutes and 30 seconds due to the field being unplayable. And Bristol get the win there. Obviously, I imagine that's not what Bristol wanted, but it's what Bristol got. They come away with a victory, not in the way they want it. Now, Reading. Sort yourself out. Much like the Leicester Longhorns, they are 0-5, and they lose to the 3-1 Exeter Demons. In the Southern 1, the 0-3 Portsmouth Destroyers lose to the Royal Holloway Bears, who improved their record to 2-0-1. Another Hertfordshire Hurricanes struggling again. I think they might win the Div, but they're not doing it convincingly as they beat Surrey 7-6. And the South Eastern Division, another winless team, the ARU Rhinos, lose to the Qmbl Vipers 34-0, whilst the Brunel Burners beat the Essex Blades 26-12, while the Heat, the race for the top of the South Eastern Div 1 heats up. Qmbl, very good. Brunel, very good. Probably my favourite div. In the Borders too, the Glasgow Uni Tigers beat Sunderland 6-0 in a game that was called off by Sunderland into their first drive, or maybe after, or during. That game did not go to its completion. However, what that means for Glasgow is they are 4-0. Sunderland fall to 2-1. Again, not what they wanted, not what anyone wanted really, but a win is a win for Glasgow. They stay undefeated. Now on to God's Division, Div 2. Let's go to Northern. Let's start with the Northern. Bradford Bears lose 18-0 to the undefeated Liverpool Raptors, who now sit at 3-0. Aberystwyth get dominated by the Lancaster Bombers, who put on a show last week, dropping a suspected 80 points on their opponents last week. Now into God's Division, we have some bad news for everyone watching. We got bad news for the country. We got bad news for the globe, ladies and gentlemen. The Lincoln Colonials lost to the Staffordshire Stallions 7-18. While Notts Green improved their record to 3-1 by beating Keel 18-6. Now in the Southwestern 2, the Gloucestershire Gladiators. Oh boy, you're lucky there is not a Div 3, ladies and gentlemen, as they lose 47-0 to Plymouth. Plymouth improving to 2-1. Whilst now this is probably, if we were doing Game Day Live, this would probably be my game of the week, the most interesting. The undefeated Bournemouth Bobcats. They barely 1 point difference. They almost lost their undefeated record to the Solent Redhawks as they beat them 21-20. Get a better kicker. Kickers matter. Well, that would have gone to overtime. Overtime. Oh, Southern 2. UCL beat Chichester 14-0, whilst the Oxford Brookes University Panthers beat the Kingston Cougars 42-0. And this is where I have to issue an apology. Why did I rank Kingston? I've looked at it, I've thought about it, and I don't know. Consider yourself unranked, Kingston. Unbelievable.
No, they've lost their title, mate.
Yeah, Steve convinced me last week. He was like, that is silly. Why have you done that? And I agree. I can't agree more. Now, And now, lastly, the South Eastern Division, Canterbury beat UCL 36-12. Canterbury are now 1-2, while the Kent Falcons remain undefeated, beating KCL 36-6. So, Dom, would you say that anything really surprises you there?
Honestly, just immediate thoughts just going through that massive list of games, like such a large amount of games this week, which it was great to see. So many shutouts. It's insane. Like I did not expect to see so many, and yeah, I might just count on a list a bit later on, in a minute, but like just in one.
Well,
Div 1 there was 4 out of like 9 games.
Dom, if you waffle for a bit, I can actually tell you.
Yeah, it's obviously, immediate thoughts again. Devastated about those that Lincoln Colonials game, but it just kind of shows that Staffordshire are like they're a good contender. It was 18-6. You know, I'm glad I didn't put down number 50 burger. That's great, but you know, I was just got a feel for Lincoln Colonials moving on to DMU when they do. So, well,
actually, it's not DMU first. I believe this weekend the Lincoln Colonials are now up in Keel. Keel obviously coming off a loss, but I believe Keel's only victory may have come via walkover. Don't quote me on that. But Dom, I can tell you that this week in Uniball there was 10 shutouts. But you have to remember, 2 of those were to the game being abandoned by the referees either for pitch or injury-related issues. So you can't say it's all bad, but that would still leave 8, and 8 is quite a lot.
It is quite a lot.
Before we start breaking it down, we're going to head over to the Bafra News Flash. Oh, love it. Because they've got some good ones, ladies and gentlemen. Charles Kelly, number 53 for the Cambridge Pythons. After being blocked and whilst on the floor, number 53 had kicked the player who blocked him. Don't do that.
It's just petty, isn't it? Just petty. Just you've been beaten. Just let it go. Move on.
Now this is an interesting one. For the Essex Blades, after review, number 58 for the Essex Blades was seen to have targeted an opponent with the crown of his helmet after review. What do you mean after? Footage? What do you mean after review?
What do you mean? Did some lucky bloke just like record it on Snapchat just for that one play?
Hold
on. Imagine that just calling the ref over. Hold on, mate. I've got footage of that. He kick it. It's like that. No. How do you review that?
So there was a fight during the Leicester Longhorns, Nottingham Trent Renegades match. Or is it though? They were different. No. So Thomas Lovell began punching an opponent while engaged in a block, and Josh Hope, the same thing, punching an opponent while in a block. Well, the Stirling Klansmen have got another one. He committed 2 unsportsmanlike conduct fouls. You know, that does it. Now, Aiden Martin for the Sussex Saxons has got a small book written on him. We'll read it out for you. War and Peace. He's got War and Peace. He's got Pride and Prejudice, ladies and gentlemen. With 29 seconds remaining in the game, the referee penalised number 60 of the visiting team for piling on an already formed pile. After the play was over, whilst the player was getting to his feet, Sussex 58 stood in front of 60 and clapped sarcastically in 60's face. At this point, the referee and umpire both penalised 58 for unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting an opponent. When 58 realised he'd been penalised, he shouted an expletive at the official and threw up his arms in a mocking gesture, intentionally drawing attention to himself. For this, he was penalised. So, 2 unsportsmanlike, all you need.
It just sounds like the refs are being arseholes, though, to be honest. Just let it go.
Don't talk about the refs like that.
Sorry,
I love the refs.
You've never said a bad word about them, have you? Not on this show. Not on this one, anyway.
So, Derby Braves, Sheffield Hallam Warriors. That game was abandoned due to the weather. Bath Killer Bees game was abandoned due to the field being unplayable. Now the Edinburgh Predators, Northumbria. The Edinburgh Predators game was called off by the home team at 11:18 on the morning of the game. Now it's all, very simple stuff. Stuff like Leicester. Leicester played in non-matching green jerseys.
Did we see?
Why?
What team was it before who played in 2 different colour jerseys?
I don't think you were around when we played Leicester, so probably not then.
No, but I mean, like we did it on the show a few weeks back. Like, there's a team literally playing in like 2 different jerseys. One was yellow, one was green, or something like that. We did bring it up on stream as well, but I can't remember who it was. But like non-matching green jerseys, is that just what, like a different shade of green?
Different shade. Now this one I don't understand. Okay, so this is the bullet. So the probably the biggest Prem team in the South.
Mhm.
2 soccer referee changing rooms were provided, which means having a good pre-game was challenging. What? You've got 2,
You got 2 change rooms. What's the issue?
but it's like having a good pre-game was challenging.
Yeah, mate. He needs to get a good workout in before you gotta go get a pre-game pump, mate.
You
You know what I mean? He's got to become some calisthenics. And
what he means is he can't look at his phone and change his fantasy team. The Wi-Fi wasn't provided.
Oh, fucking
Christ, mate, that is.
What sort of
that ref has given that 2 stars on Ref Advisor, mate.
Ref Advisor.
So let's start with the Prem South. You know, Birmingham have seemed to be the number 2 in that division, and yet there seems to be just such a huge gulf between the Bullets and everyone else. What do you do if you're the Birmingham Lions?
Hope you do better next year, mate. Hope you do. That's it, mate.
There you go. See, Raphael, you know, he's used a container. That doesn't surprise me.
It's get changed. It's fine.
Realistically, probably for Winchester. Love a bit of Winchester. Come on, Silverbacks, get yourself in order. But yeah, like, it's for Birmingham to put the amount of points on people like Swansea and Cardiff and then get completely shut out. Like, there's such a huge gulf that something has to be addressed, but not even from Birmingham, probably from Bucks itself. Like, they've won the division hands down. Like, no one's going to beat the Bullets.
No, I
now.
don't think so.
But like, at least with the North, when you've got Nottingham, Liverpool, surprise! Looking at you, Raptors. What are you playing at? But at least with the North, like, I know it just seems like the differentiation between the team, but Nottingham Gold have conceded points. It's never been necessarily close, but like
no.
But like, Leeds Beckett are the second best team in that division, and they put up 23 against 51. So just how do you level that out? Like, the Bullets are just wrecking shop, and when it comes down to it, in months down the line, when it is who I assume Nottingham Gold versus the Bullets, do you think Nottingham? What do you think Nottingham's chances are against the Bullets?
I mean, I don't know, because are we seeing? I mean, we had the benefit of watching the Gold play via their stream the other week, and they looked good, I have to admit. So I think it'll be a very competitive game. I think they will score points against the Bullets, but at the moment, like, the Bullets have shown that they are a very dominant force. So,
but over 4 games, no points conceded.
Yeah, I know.
Hold on a second. Right, Rob, the rankings come later in the show. You build up to the rankings. Have you ever watched TV before, you mug? Sit back down, or because I'll tell you what, Rob, they are ranked this week, and if you keep this up, I'm going to unrank them. I'll put Kingston there instead again. No, that's a joke.
Tune into the rundown every Monday where we insult our viewers.
No, I know. Don't worry, I know, Rob. It's fine.
No, I know. Don't worry. I'll take the piss. No, it's
okay. Yeah, don't worry. But yeah, like, again, it seems to be that, like, there's the Prem is like, you can definitely tell who is, you know, who's going down and who's going up.
Yeah, it's not like it's a close run for it, really.
You really can't. It's, you know, as much as it is fun to have teams that dominate, but, you know, we've not even reached the halfway point of the season, and we already know that. I'd put my house on Leeds Griffins going down. Like,
I think it's a safe bet.
Honestly, if I put a bet on that, I think I would maybe get 4p back. Genuinely, maybe 4p back. Unbelievable stuff. But in the Borders, the Northumbria Mustangs, they're heating up, but I still think, you know, you've got to look out for Newcastle because they're still undefeated, and I'm not sure if anyone can really solve that puzzle. You know, Northumbria have already had a match with Newcastle and lost, but it doesn't seem to be going much anywhere for anyone. Well, in the Northern one, it's very much the same. You know, the Sabres are the best in the division, right? But but Sheffield Hallam have already had their derby game with Sheffield, and it's just not on. Oh my God, unbelievable stuff. Whilst as we move to the Midlands one, once again, I feel like that is very much it's less predictable, less not boring, but less predictable. The Nottingham Trent Renegades are definitely the second in that division. They have their only loss in their current 4-1 record comes against Loughborough. Now, Loughborough are going to be a difficult team to beat, whilst you've sort of got it's Loughborough, Nottingham Trent, Warwick, and then Coventry and Leicester are fighting it out. They are fighting it out for last place. Because we've got sort of more time, what would you do how would you address it as Coventry? Like, you're probably not going to be going down this year, but you're also not good enough to be in Div 1. Do you think they're going to have enough time to rally up and produce a good Div 1 side by the time the next season rolls around?
I mean, you hope so. I mean, you can really only do what you can with the players that you can bring in. I mean, you get these players for 3 years max, and 4 years max, really, isn't it? Well, depends. Maybe they do a PhD. Maybe they're there for life. Who knows? But you know what I mean? Like, usually you get them for 3 years, and then you hope, and you probably have to rebuild again because all your experienced players are gone. But to be honest, it just helps if you can get someone who's played like a rookie on the team who's played the game before. So hopefully they can rally and get a good side for next season, so they don't end up going down. Because at the moment, there's other teams who are getting promoted in like Div 2 that probably could challenge them. So,
but it looks like, but also like Coventry don't have the they don't have the drawing power as they once did when they were a Prem side. They can't, offer it out. I'm not saying that Coventry did offer it out to Americans like Bullets. Look at you, Bullets. But how do you bring people over? Because do Coventry have that potential anymore? I don't think so. They lost every game last season, and their only wins have come against
the lesser teams,
the worst team in that division. If a big restructuring is on the cards for Baffa or Bucks, sorry, I don't see Coventry staying in Div 1 Midlands. I really, really don't. That's just if it's on the cards. I don't know anything. I'm speculating. Whereas, we don't talk about it as much just because, like, Leicester, they have just come up. But Reading Knights, they are 0-5. Once again, they are probably heading down to the Southeast 2 this season, while Bath, again, not very good. But they are doing well enough to have one win and face relegation. Like, how do you sort of speak to your players and give them any sort of vote of confidence when you've had one win and you're facing relegation?
Man, I don't know. It's if you are facing relegation, I mean, you just have to face it with what it is. Like, if you go down, you try and come back up the next season. Like, I don't think, but it's one of them. I literally would never know what to say to them. Like, not at all. So, how do you rally a team that I've just constantly losing, really? Like,
but when do you look at your players and say, nah, this season is, you look at them and you go, this is an experience season. And what you're
I think that's probably what they're looking at now. I mean, if they're probably, like you said, they're looking at, they're in a league with Reading, who's probably going to be the team that gets relegated. But so they can use it for that experience to hopefully do better next season. Because they know by now they're not going to win the division, go to playoffs. So they're not doing that.
It's just like, it's when the players can see through that particular veil, and they're like, oh, this season is now, a lost season. It's when you have that sort of, because I've had it. Much as I love Ouse Valley, it was basically, they said that when we lost 3 games in a row. But we almost beat. Now this is a good question from our own Steve. Do I think teams can improve to the Bullets' level? Now, not this year, and probably not next year, is the answer to that question. They've got to look at, like, we know, we've looked at some of the people that the Bullets have on the roster. They have, they had a practice squad from the Cardinals guy there. Like
True.
when you throw someone like that into Britball, it doesn't mess everything up because it's fair, it's legal, but it is an advantage that plays directly into their hands. So I think it's just getting the right personnel in, because you're gonna
That's not just players either, really. That's coaching staff as well. If you have a good dedicated coaching staff, you can provide that experience to the players. That's gonna make like all the difference.
Now, as we move on to like the southeastern Division 1, it's probably my favourite division just because there's so much sort of interplay with teams that are good and teams that face their boogeyman. And you see that with QMBL and Brunel. Like Brunel are 3-2, and their 2 losses have come at the hands of QMBL, who have shut down their offense. Now, don't get me wrong, 26-12 against the Essex Blades isn't a fantastic score for the Burners. But again, how do you face your boogeyman team and try and do anything? Because QMBL were eating their breakfast. Like the ARU Rhinos, they're 0-4. I wouldn't really say they stood a chance against QMBL.
No,
but at what point do you realise that like your season, that is a coaching issue as far as I'm concerned? Considering that Brunel put up 2 lots of 50 points, go to QMBL, can't put up a thing. They put up single digits. Like that's a coaching issue, right?
Oh no, I'd put that down to play calling more than anything because the players have demonstrated that they have the capability to do that. So what happens against this team? Do you try something new? Is like do they try a new skin that didn't work? You don't know. But like, yeah, I'd definitely put that down to a coaching issue more than player capability.
So we've seen it, strangely a lot this week, especially more and last week when there was a lot of snow on the ground, games couldn't continue. But more so this week with games that were abandoned. So the players of the away team have come through. What do you say to your players when you're on the bus, especially if you're coming away with a win in a game that was abandoned?
Oh man, I mean, I hate seeing the game abandoned, but like sometimes it's just it's not safe or it's not worth the risk to play it. I mean, if you come away with that win just because the game's abandoned, you've done enough, haven't you? Really, like you've done enough. I'll be happy with it. A win's a win. I don't care, mate. Like,
win's a win, mate. Don't care. So in the Northern Div 2, I have to give a shout out to Lancaster Bombers. I don't think that they're in a position to sort of take the division, for the rest of the season. I don't think they're in that position, especially that you've now got Liverpool Raptors sitting at 3-0 at the top of the div, and you've got people like Aberystwyth who are not good. Not good.
I thought they were better than this, and then to get beaten 50. What did they get beaten by?
58.
58. Yeah. So getting beaten like that is kind of mad to me. I thought they were better than that from what we've seen over the past few weeks and all that. So,
but Lancaster last week putting up 80 points, the suspected 80 points, and now putting up 50. It seems that they've reached they've hit the next level.
Yeah,
but it is week 6. So
is that too late to hit it?
Yes, it is. It is when you've got someone like if Liverpool were 2-1, then Lancaster have got a shot. But they're 3-0, and Liverpool don't really seem like they're slowing down. Especially considering Bradford are 2-1. Liverpool managed to smash them quite soundly. 18, allowing no points, 18-0. So I don't know. It's just I've got nothing to say. Just good job, Lancaster. Keep putting on great matches.
That's all you can say, isn't it?
Put it on great matches. And now we're going to move on to God's division, ladies and gentlemen, the Midlands Div 2. Staffordshire. Obviously, this game was interesting for me. Not just as a former Lincoln Colonial, but just looking at Staffordshire. Obviously, they dominated in their first week and then got battered by DMU the week after. So I think it was really a test for Staffordshire to prove that we are a good football team. That we aren't just bullies picking on the bad teams in the div. But I think with this win over the Colonials, especially considering that the Lincoln Colonials beat Nottingham Green last week, I think this says a lot for Staffordshire going forward. It really does depend on DMU for the rest of the season. If DMU, lose a few games, which could happen any given Sunday and everything, and they've only played one so far because the other one was a walkover, I believe. You've got to look at Staffordshire as a contender. Now, one thing we will say about the Midlands Div 2, since our last stream, the Chester Legion have officially withdrawn.
Oh, they have, haven't they?
So there are no more. That's it. There's no more. So all those games, they're wins for the other team. It's a shame. Chester Legion have played one game, and the scoreline was good. It was a loss to Nottingham Green, but the scoreline was good. But it seems to be that there is something happening in the Chester Legion camp that has meant that they have to withdraw from the season, which is a shame.
Well, yeah, it's a shame because even if it's going to be a losing season, there's still that experience to be gained. So, I would hate to pull out the season, but I don't know, maybe lack of personnel. Who knows, really?
It could very well be injuries. We don't know. We don't know. Whereas the Notts Green, they come back from their loss against Lincoln, 18-6. Notts Green, I think they are a good team. They very well could be the third in the division. I think when it comes down to Notts Green versus Staffordshire, I think that's going to be one of the bigger games of Midlands 2 to really say who is second. Yeah, like Bradley Charalambus, he is right. It's never good. It's the same. It's the same with games being abandoned. It's never. You never like to see it. You never like to see it, especially at this level. Like, people do work hard. Even though it is Uniball and at a Div 2 level, people are still working hard. We move on to the Southwest Div 2, Gloucestershire Gladiators. I'll do a part of the rankings now. In my one to improve, I've got Gloucestershire Gladiators because they've not done very good at all this season. They're 0-4. They lost to Bath Spa, which Bath Spa hadn't won a lot up until that point, and also losing handily to the UE2s as well. It's not looking good for Gloucestershire going forward. I've had the fortune of speaking to someone from Gloucestershire, and he basically said to me, all of our sort of, basically our big players, our star players, they got injured in the first game. So I think, again, it's admirable that they've gone on. I don't see a victory in their horizon, but I think it's admirable that they've continued to play. They lost 41-0 to the Plymouth Blitz. Now, this is the big one for me in Div 2, and maybe the whole week, to be completely honest. Bournemouth Bobcats, they've been on a roll. They've been, trampling that division. Solent Redhawks, however, they haven't really been, a huge talking point in the Southwestern 2, to be completely honest. But they took the Bournemouth Bobcats, who were 3-0, they're now 4-0, 21-20. That seems like, we can speculate, was it 2 field goals or was it a missed extra point? But again, that comes down to a kicker. I feel like the stress needs to be placed on having a good kicker, like even if it takes training someone up, because the problem is that people might not want to be kickers, but if you're a good kicker, you need to say, okay, don't worry about being DB, don't worry about being a linebacker, just punt this ball as far as you can and as accurately as you can.
I mean, there's no harm in doing both. Let's be honest. You can't but as long as you dedicate a bit of your practice to a bit of kicking, that's fine.
I disagree, to be completely honest.
You want just a dedicated kicker?
Yes,
no,
I do.
I don't know. I mean,
obviously, it depends on how deep your roster is. I don't know how deep the Solent Redhawks roster is. They could have 90 players for all I know. They could have 22 players as well. So, but you've got to but you said, a bit of kicking. No, if you're a kicker, spend the session kicking. like, it's more important for you to be a kicker than it is for you to be a DB, because I imagine that they've got like, reams of DBs. Like, there are DBs who never take the field in their first year.
True.
Put one of those on. Keep the kick. Make the kickers actually kick, not just when you're doing special teams practice. Actually, give him, 4 balls and kick him. Just kick him. Just be good at kicking. Oh my god.
That's it. That's your main advice.
Yeah, be good at kicking. Now, Rob Smith, you little worm. Let's talk about the Obu Panthers. He's been on my case that I have been sort of mistreating the Obu Panthers. They're currently at 3-1, and they beat Kingston 42-0. You can't really say anything else. Obu Panthers are doing well. I do think that obviously their big rival in the Southern Division 2 is the Oxford Lancers. I believe that game is a while away. I believe it's week 16. I believe it's the 2nd of February is Oxford Lancers versus the Obu Panthers. And realistically, if Obu Panthers continue the role they're on, they can win that game. And I believe, if Rob's still here, I hope he is, because I've got to rank OBU so we can, cry about it later. I believe their one loss came in overtime, when Uniball games don't have overtime. They don't have it. And something that we learned is that if there is a tie in the leaderboards, it doesn't seem to come down to differentials. It seems that it could very well come down to a coin toss.
Yeah, so I'm a bit confused about that. You mentioned that a little bit earlier as well. So you tell me that it can literally be decided, if you get promoted or not, a coin toss.
Yeah, so
that's outrageous.
Average points conceded or fixtures played shall be considered, not goal difference. If this does not separate the tie, then the process will move straight to the coin toss, as per. Which I think is an absolute madness.
That's ridiculous.
An absolute madness. I cannot believe that, you could play your heart out. You could be, for example, let's say Lancaster. You could be Lancaster. You could be at the top. Maybe your things are exactly the same. You end up, luckily, exactly the same as Liverpool. And it gets decided on a coin toss. I think that's a madness, which I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. That's ridiculous.
Which I didn't know.
50-50 chance, boys. There we go.
50-50 chance. Well, why aren't all games decided on a coin toss then?
Yeah.
What's the point? So, hopefully our man in the booth, Steve, can just get us up if he's listening. He might not be. I think he is. Is he? I think we need to look at the lovely people at the Newcastle Raiders, who we've said this on Game Day Live a few times, right? York Centurions, their Twitter is great for the memes. Now, the Newcastle Raiders have come back. The Newcastle Raiders are clapping back, as the kids say. It's just not great. It is funny. It is funny. Now we got some other things from people's, from Teams Uniballs. Now the Braves Sheffield Hallam Warriors game came down to the last play, where the Derby Braves were stopped half a yard short, much like the Titans in the Super Bowl. Unbelievable. Just, that must be gutting for. They've obviously come a long way. They've got right to the end and they've not done it. But that is just, realistically, that's just great defense from Hallam. It's not so much that I'm sure the Derby Braves wanted it, but Hallam's defense, too much for them. Now I'll wait for our old meme review. Now, it seems to be we're partway through the show. There you go. Here we go. Obviously, it is very unlikely for points conceded to be the same. But still, coin toss. I still can't believe that. Even still, I know that's very, very unlikely, but I still can't believe that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, rankings. Let's talk about the rankings. Now, unfortunately, life got in the way last week, so there was no 5 rankings. I have done a very arbitrary list for last week, and I'm not gonna spend too long talking about it, but I am gonna give it out just because it's only fair. In the Prem, it was the Bullets, the Lions, the Gold, and the Leeds Beckett Carnegie, Borders Div 1, the SGS Pride.
Is this what you're looking for, Chris?
Where's this? Yes. Unbelievable. Cold and scared Newcastle Raiders. Newcastle Raiders, this is the difference. York have not earned the opportunity to talk nonsense.
No, they haven't. No.
Newcastle have got the license to talk absolute nonsense.
Yeah, I like it. Cold and scared. Just to taunt them just a little bit more. I love it.
It is just give me more memes.
So I've also seen just a comment. So saying the game was also called off within 3 minutes or something like that. Which is.
Do you want to get it open?
I'm just having a look through what we're sending in the chat earlier, to be honest. So. Anyway, so you continue with your rankings anyway, mate.
No, I'll cover one comment now from Neb 7851. What's my view on the Sussex Saxons? They're not going to win their division. I'll put it like that. I don't think they're going to win. They're currently 1-3, which isn't particularly good. They beat Portsmouth, and it seems to be that Hertfordshire and Surrey are really just tearing up that division. Even Royal Holloway are doing well. I don't think, however, that Sussex are going to get relegated. I don't think Sussex are going to get relegated. I think Portsmouth are very close to getting relegated, considering they're sitting at 0-3. Now, it very well may come down to the next game against Portsmouth and Sussex. If Sussex fall, but I can't see them falling. They're 1-3, and if Portsmouth beats Sussex, then it will come down to, points conceded, as we've said. But considering that the game is on the 23rd of Jan, I can't really see Portsmouth doing much else, considering that their last game of the season is against Royal Holloway Bears, and Royal Holloway, they're still yet to lose a game, but they have got one draw. So it's. I think Royal Holloway, they could win the div if Hertfordshire, stress it out a bit. But no, I think Sussex Saxons are going to stay in Div 1. Say goodbye to Portsmouth, and then go from there. So let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start off with the Prem. We're going to start off with the Prem Chris Tebbert rankings. Unbelievable. Who is Chris Tebbert? Why is he ranking? I
don't know, because I'm cool.
Here we go, gentlemen. Starting off, absolutely no surprise. The Bullets. The UE Bullets are number 1. A 228-point differential. No points conceded. They absolutely decimate the second in the division. There's nothing else to really say. UE Bullets take the top of the Prem, and I think they're going to stay. They're going to stay there, unless something mad happens, like they play all their third string or probably their fourth stringers. If they basically put out the UE2 side, then that's probably where they might fall. But I doubt it quite considerably. In second, ladies and gentlemen, we got Notts Gold again.
Okay.
I can't really see that being much of a surprise. Most people, Notts Gold have done, very well to keep their lead at the top. Pretty concrete, undefeated, but they allowed points. And this week they defeated the number 2 in the Prem North, Leeds Beckett Carnegie. The point differential, it was good. You can tell Leeds Beckett have got something there, which is exactly why they're number 3. Leeds Beckett are a good team. They really are. I think, looking down the line, looking on to next year, looking to the future, Notts Gold aren't as dominating as the Bullets. I think Leeds Beckett Carnegie, next year or the year after, they could have a chance to actually really take this division. Now, due to the lack of games in the Prem this week, the other 2 picks are pretty much from that. Actually, no. The Durham Saints, they have placed themselves in the middle of the division. They aren't getting relegated. They beat Stirling Klansmen, which I'm sure has lost its luster from years previous. But as Durham have, as far as I'm concerned, they deserve 3rd because they have secured themselves not being relegated and not being spoken about, as far as I'm concerned, in the same conversation as Stirling Klansmen and the Leeds Griffins. And this is just sort of one for history because of how well Birmingham Lions have done in the past. They are 5th because I can't put anyone else there. Don't take it as a win, Birmingham. It's not a win. I had to have 5, and I'm not putting. And you're more impressive than Sterling.
No. That's a bit rough for them.
They're more impressive than everyone else.
Right,
Maybe
the
Cardiff
Lions.
Cobras.
I don't know about that one, mate. I mean, the Lions still. I mean, I guess it's against the Bullets that they got battered against, but I don't know.
But that's it. It's like if you factor that out, they're a great team.
Yeah. Maybe.
When you factor it in, no, they're terrible. Moving on, Division 1. Hopefully it'll switch after this has gone by. Number 1, I know they didn't play this week. I'm fully aware, but you can't take it away from SGS Pride. The Pride are they didn't play this week, and they're still the best team in Div 1. That's it. That is it. That is what it is. You can't say that that's not true. You simply can't. They're great. Obviously, they've had. Oh, I love you. Thank you, Richard.
Good South fans coming out. So, what's that, mate?
Oh, I love them. What's the colour of your piss? Unbelievable.
Oh, it depends how dehydrated I am, to be fair, mate. Yeah,
I didn't need to know that. Number 2, Sheffield Sabres. They're going up. They're putting up big wins. I still think that Hallam probably are the top of that. The top of Sheffield, to be completely honest. But I think that the 47-8 victory over the LGMU Fury has put them at number 2, as far as I'm concerned, for this week. The Qmbl Vipers, once again, putting out a dominating performance. I think that division is going to be very, very spicy when it comes to the end of the season. But 34 against an ARU Rhinos team that is very much struggling, who could very well see themselves going down. Qmbl still have their composure. Now, Loughborough Uni, they're still undefeated. They did not play this week, don't get me wrong. But I still think they are very, very good. Nottingham Trent Renegades, they are 5th. But again, they're 5th because they lost to Loughborough a few weeks ago. Loughborough, still really good, still going to win that division. I could see them going really far, even probably making it to Prem. I can't call them the Aces. Loughborough Uni. Now moving on to Div 2. No surprise, Bournemouth Bobcats, number 1. They're undefeated. They squeaked out against Solent Redhawks, but even still, that win promotes them to 4-0. That's rarefied air. There's not a lot of teams that are 4-0. It's like the Bullets, and I think someone else. I'm not entirely sure. Probably the Gold, actually. They're 4-0. You can't take that away from Bournemouth. Now, number 2, Liverpool Raptors. Again, another undefeated team, putting on another good performance. You can't really deny Liverpool at all. Now, number 3, Rob Smith. He's bullied me, but the Obu Panthers, 42-0. They are 3rd. While the Glasgow Uni Tigers, they're 4th. They really should be 3rd. However, I can't really put them 3rd just because of how the Sunderland game ended, by Sunderland abandoning the game due to, could have been injuries, I believe it was. I can't really give it to them, but they are still undefeated. Kent Falcons, Same sort of thing, undefeated. They are 3-0. They beat QCL 36-6. I think, again, very, very good going for the Kent Falcons. They've really have positioned themselves highly in the southeast, and I'm not entirely sure if they can really put it out. And as I said earlier, the one to improve is going to be Gloucestershire Gladiators.
Yep. Yeah,
now,
I'm not too unhappy with that.
now, Richard, if you're watching, Richard Batty, where do you think I've gone wrong with that? Where do you think I've gone wrong with my rankings? Or even if it's not the rankings, just to show in general, why do you think that...
I think we need to clarify as well. You do your rankings based on who's played this week as well.
Yes,
so
which
if you were,
changing.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's probably because we've seen more games now to actually put into full ranking, to be honest. But like, if you don't see a team up there, or if you think your team's better, just probably didn't play.
No, tell me what. I am not. I am
Yeah.
not an unreasonable man. You know, I'm not. I'm not the guy who puts the numbers next to US college teams. I'm just going by what I'm saying.
I think Richard thinks the Rhinos are the best team in the division, mate. You know what I mean?
Oh, is that it?
That's it. You're really happy when you spoke bad about them. So
is that it? Yeah, are you right?
Yeah, there's no other explanation, mate. So.
But you know, I'm sort of happy with. I'm happy with them. I feel like it could have. As the season winds down a bit more, I feel like it's going to be a lot harder to, as far as I'm concerned, accurately judge the rankings as they go on. You know, like the less games there are, the less data I can input and be like, okay, this is who I think is going to win. You know, and that's especially difficult as, you know, games are getting abandoned, games are getting called off due to the weather, or especially as we're getting later into the season, called off due to injury. You know, it's never something that you particularly like to see. But yeah, I'm happy with it. And I'm surprised that I've not had a comment from lovely Rob Smith talking about Obu Panthers, because he is, I should say he's biased because he's the defensive coordinator. So of course he wants them there, you know, and to be fair, they put up 42 and let through 0. Who am I to judge? Who am I to judge the Obu Panthers? See, now this is it.
Comments on the Plymouth Blitz, Chris?
I've got
a few comments on them, mate.
Yeah, no, I think Plymouth Blitz is quite good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like
my brain was getting confused.
You just lost it, didn't you?
No, my brain was getting confused. I was like, Plymouth Blitz. No, I was getting confused with Portsmouth because Portsmouth aren't.
Yeah.
Whilst Plymouth.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, my brain was shutting down for a second there. Too much football. So, like, where do you see, like, if we just go through what is happening next week in terms of Britball games, like if I read you out some more. So let's say Royal Holloway Bears, Portsmouth Destroyers. For me, that one's quite easy. I don't think Portsmouth are going to be able to really figure out the Holloway Bears. You know, the Holloway Bears are still undefeated. They might have.
Wait, Chris, I think first of all you cut out a little bit. Secondly, so are Portsmouth and the Royal Holloway Bears, are they playing each other again?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Back to back. Okay. Fair enough. I'm used to playing each team basically once in Britball, and that's my experience. So didn't know.
That's because you're a Div 2 player, mate.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah, just Div 2's a whole different side, isn't it? So but yeah, I think I agree with you. I don't think Portsmouth are going to do enough in a week to actually rectify their issues, and I think they're probably going to lose again.
Yes. Now let's despite we've done that one, let's move on to the Prem. I think these two games are quite easy to really think about what's going to happen. Durham Saints versus Leeds Beckett Carnegie and Leeds Griffins versus Nottingham Gold. That is, for me, that is simple. That is simple. Durham Saints are going to put points on the board, but I think Leeds Beckett Carnegie are going to pull away with the win. Probably, I'd say by 14.
Okay.
Now, Nottingham Gold versus. What about you, Dom? What was your thoughts on that?
Well, with this, Saints versus Carnegie?
Yes.
So now what? It's a tough one because, like you said, Beckett didn't do that bad against Gold. I'm going to go maybe the underdog route if you want to call them that. I think maybe. Oh no, I can't. I just looked at who the Saints played because I think
Yes,
the
exactly.
Saints. Yeah, I think the Saints scoreline led me towards them, but no, they played the Klansmen. Yeah, I think I'm actually agree with you. Just kind of
Now, the other game in that division is Notts Gold versus the Leeds Griffins. I've got Notts Gold by 30.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna agree with it. I've got maybe even more. To be honest, let's be honest.
Maybe even more. No, I think they're quite. I think Notts Gold.
It's not uncommon that we've seen it. We haven't. It's not like we've not seen a shutout in a Prem side. So let's go for it. 40 unanswered points. Let's go.
Now in the Prem South, you've got the UEA Pirates and the Cardiff Cobras, and the Swansea Titans and the Birmingham Lions. I'll start with the easier game: Birmingham Lions, Swansea Titans. Birmingham Lions, they're going to be looking to come back.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the week 2 game, Birmingham Swansea. It was 41-0 to Birmingham. I can't see that really changing. I think they're going to come back and prove that the Lions are a good team. Just not when it comes to the Bullets.
Yeah, no, when it comes to the Bullets, because
that's it.
I think they're that next level, aren't they? So.
No, I think the UEA Pirates Cardiff Cobra game is going to be interesting because I think Pirates can avoid relegation with one more win, and the Cardiff Cobras, they are okay. They've beaten Swansea and they've beaten the Pirates before, but I think the Pirates are fully in that sort of mindset of this is it. We could go down if we don't pick up another win. So I've got the Pirates by 7 in that one.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I disagree with me, honestly. Yeah, I think the Pirates take that one.
That's because I'm too good, mate.
Yeah, mate. You're just
too good. I'm
easily led, mate. That's all it is. Who knows?
Thanks for that, mate. You're really helping out my my stat line.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
Now in the Borders, Northumbria Mustangs versus Hull Sharks. Now Hull Sharks again, they've only put up 10 points the whole season.
Yeah, it's not amazing.
I think Northumbria has started to sort of get their act together a little bit. Northumbria beat the Hull Sharks 10-2 in their first meeting a month ago.
Still a low-scoring game, so it's not like it's going to be uncompetitive against the two teams. So
Hull could very well win it. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't. I don't see it happening. Northumbria are coming off a win over Edinburgh. I think they're going to roll that into their game with the Hull Sharks. Yeah. I mean, that's not even me not liking the Hull Sharks.
mine was going to be completely biased against Hull Sharks for that reason. But, I was going to do no research into anything. I was going to say, Hull Sharks are going to lose, mate.
No, I think this game. There's one game that's very interesting, which is the Sheffield Sabres and the Manchester Tyrants. Tyrants are currently 2-0. Sabres are currently 3-1. But the Tyrants, they are good. Sheffield coming off a big win. I still think Manchester Tyrants. They're facing the Hallam Warriors. My mistake. That makes it more interesting because at the top of the leaderboard is the Hallam Warriors.
Is that Sheffield then, is it?
Sheffield Hallam Warriors, yes. My mistake. Now, their last game, the Manchester Tyrants gave Sheffield Hallam their only loss so far in a 46-44 game, again, a month ago. Oh, I don't know. Sheffield Hallam. I'm going to go with Sheffield Hallam.
I was thinking Manchester on that one, All these are just blind picks for me as to a certain extent because I'm not, 100% knowledgeable on a lot of these uni teams. I've learned a lot in our 6 weeks doing this sort of show now. But I'm going to give the Tyrants, and they said Titans again.
Now the Sheffield Sabres, Derby Braves. I've got that going to the Sabres. I'm going to go for the Sabres.
There's not anything to say against that. I think the Sabres are just the better team.
I think Derby have got a very good defence, but I don't think it's really going to help them very much against Sabres. Let's go on to the Midlands, tier number one, division number one. Now Warwick Wolves, Loughborough all day. Nottingham Trent Renegades, Cov Uni Jets, Nottingham Trent. That one was not very difficult at all.
Yeah, no, Cov Jets are not good at the moment. So
no, I'm sorry. If anyone wants to complain about those picks,
Richard, we're looking at you, mate.
I think I'm going to be right with both of those. Qmbl Vipers, Essex Blades, ARU Rhinos, Imperial Immortals. Imperial Immortals are going to take ARU Rhinos. The Qmbl Vipers are going to take the Essex Blades. Again, I don't think that's a particularly difficult score. In the last game, Qmbl beat Essex Blades 16-0. Again, can't see the Qmbl Vipers really changing. Southwest one. Are the SGS Pride back next week? Is the answer to the question.
Are they?
I'll be able to tell you in a second.
Okay, let me know. I'm on the edge of my seat.
They aren't. They aren't. SGS Pride have got no more games until the 23rd of January. Good on them. Good on them. Southampton Stags, Bristol Barracuda, Bath Killer Bees, Reading Knights. Bath Killer Bees over the Reading Knights. Bristol over Southampton. I think that is, and I think Bristol Southampton. That's going to be a good game. Reading Knights, Bath Killer Bees. They're both at the bottom, but Reading Knights are much more at the bottom at 0-5. We're moving on to Div 2 now. Okay. So let me tell you, Dom Sims.
Okay.
Bucks Northern Div 2 has got one of my favourite games. Honestly, if I lived up north, I'd go and watch it. Genuinely. So you've got the Liverpool Raptors, who are 3-0. Yep. You've got the Uclan Rams, who are 2-0. Okay. This week, it's the Liverpool Raptors versus the Uclan Rams.
Oh, it's a lovely game.
I think that is a great game. I think that is a fantastic game. And I am going to go for the Uclan Rams.
Tell me about the Rams' last game, Chris, if you have it.
So the Rams' last game was a while ago. Their last game was on the 14th of November. And they beat the Bangor Mud Dogs 48-0.
Okay. Yeah.
And in their first game, they beat Aberystwyth 41-0.
Okay, yeah, it sounds like they're a pretty dominant team. Just not had much chance to place over the record. Even can't we just get off the record, really?
And also, they've had a month off.
That's a lot of adjustment, a lot of training. Hopefully, you're getting better. You know what I mean?
If they had a lot of injuries, there's no more injuries.
Oh yeah, it's gone now. Yeah.
Unless you tore your ACL or something. But
true.
I really can't say. Like, that's my game of the week. Like, you don't have to ask me at the end of the next game or the end of the next stream what my favourite game is. It's that one. That's my game of the week. I'm interested to know what the score is. Honestly, if they streamed that game, I'd watch it. If I lived up north, I'd go to it. But they're not going to do either of those things. There's only one game in the Brighton Panthers did. Brighton Panthers versus Chichester Spitfires. Spitfires 4-0, Brighton 2-0. Feel like we don't really have to put our journalistic caps on to really figure out where that one's going to end up. Now, Napier Knights, you were ranked in week 5, but I didn't write the thing, so don't complain to my boss about it. All right? Or otherwise I get fired. So the Edinburgh Napier Knights are taking on the returning Aberdeen Bulls. I'm going to go with Napier Knights there. The Aberdeen Bulls, they're sort of, they're coming back. They've not been particularly great so far in the games they've played. York St John Jaguars versus the Teesside Cougars. The Jaguars are currently at the bottom of the div 0-2. Teesside Cougars 1-1. Aberdeen Bulls 0-2, while Napier sit at 2-0. I'd love York St John to pull it off, but I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to do it. Now, this is it. This is it. Bucks, Midlands, Div 2.
Oh, great division. Best division.
So the DMU Lions versus Chester Legion is no longer happening. Chester have withdrawn.
Isn't it?
So there's only one game That is the Keel Crusaders versus the Lincoln Colonials. When looking at Keel, they've had a walkover victory and a loss to Nottingham Green. This is really going to prove if the Lincoln Colonials are, legit. I think they're travelling away. I know that, but I think it's going to be a big test for the Lincoln Colonials. But I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to go.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going Colonials' way though. I mean, like you said, it's only given Sunday, but if you just go off like who they've played and who they've beaten, they beat the Green beat the Keel. But like how much that plays part of that doesn't really, because anything can happen. But
so hopefully there's one more game, and then we will say goodbye for this first episode of the rundown. There is no more games. Keel Lincoln was the last one, and I think we have covered all we need to cover here on the first episode of the rundown. I'm happy with it. I think it's been a good show. I need to put more people like Richard having a go at me, or us. Probably more you, Dom, than me.
I don't have a master's in journalism, mate. So yeah, that's probably
that
right.
is true. That is true. The University of Lincoln, Richard. But with that, I'm going to depart. Hopefully Dom is as well, or Dom's just going to stay on stream.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to do my solo stream for the next hour, mate. Yeah, don't worry. Right.
Gross. 0 views. So we will see you back here on Monday, 7:30. Ooh.
Oh, that's a good bit of information to end on. Look at that.
Oh, thank you very much, Jack. The Vikings and the Lancaster Bombers, it was rearranged to this week. So that's good. That's why I didn't show up on the thing. But no, thank you very much. Who have you got? Because I think...
I'm going to go Bombers.
I think Lancaster are on a roll.
Yeah.
I think Lancaster are on a roll. Edge Hill. Yeah, Edge Hill. I mean, look. Let me just go back to what I was looking at. Sorry. I'm not going to make a wild pick.
Just make that's what I went. Just gut pick, mate. Just go with the Bombers.
So Edge Hill are 0-2. Lancaster are 2-2. Lancaster are on a roll. Lancaster by twist. There you go.
Oh, okay. You've either made Jack really happy or really upset at that.
Really upset.
Yeah, probably.
I really hope he plays for Edge Hill. If you do, tell him he needs to play better. Unbelievable stuff. Yes, but as we were saying, it's goodbye from me, Tebbs. It's goodbye from Dom. We will catch you next week for the rundown where we're going to cover all the uni schools once again. It will be spicy. Remember, everyone, stay safe. Try not to abandon your games. At Winchester.
But there are more storms coming, so let's hope.
Yeah, that is true.
Hope for the best.
Yeah, stay safe, everyone.